You generally become, everybody sit down, I'm about to have a history lesson with Mr. O'Brien. You generally become a monarch. The first monarch in a line has generally won a war, all right, or mounted a successful invasion. And that war has been won, or that invasion has been mounted in pursuit of booty, right? Not in the modern sense of the word. I'm not going to start rapping, but in pursuit of lucre, cash, spoils. That's why they are called the spoils of war. William the Conqueror came to England in 1066, hoping to enrich himself. 1,000 years later, more than 1,000 years later, the Duke of Westminster, when asked for advice on becoming super wealthy, suggested that the best thing you could do was to have an ancestor who was friends with William the Conqueror. So I don't know if there is such a thing as private money for the descendants of whichever monarch it was that actually undertook a war or an invasion in order to fill their own coffers. But it's not black and white, is it? Whose money is this? Whose 12 million quid is making its way towards Virginia Giuffre and her charity? What does this story tell you about England? 03456060973, or perhaps the United Kingdom. It's a tale of deference to the point of delusion, right? Think how much effort in the last few years has been put into maligning Prince Harry. Just think about that for 1 minute. What's Prince Harry done wrong? Well, he married a mixed-race girl, James, but I can't say that out loud, so I'm just going to say that you're woke. What's Prince Harry done wrong? Oh, he's woke. What does that mean? Can't tell you. I'll tell you what woke means today. 2 stories. I'll share them with you later. It means both vegetarian, and it's a description of Wordle's decision to remove some swear words from that online word game. That's the 2 instances of woke. I'm going to start Woke Watch. I've been threatening to do it for years. I'm starting Woke Watch. Can't work out what it means. Today it means vegetarian. Think for a minute about the effort put into maligning Prince Harry over the last few years. And now look at what Andrew Windsor has done overnight. It was the threat of deposition that focused the mind. What once he'd been, if you like, nailed in court, called to court, all bets were off. No one could defend him after that. And it would have coincided. And I find this almost impenetrable. And I've lived here all my life. I don't have a particular problem with the Queen in particular. And as I've got older, I've become a lot mellower about the royal family in general. I don't know if that's going to change today. But the bit that I find almost impenetrable is that the motivation for this move appears to be the looming platinum anniversary of the Queen and a desire not to see it polluted by having her second oldest son standing in a dock in New York City accused of the vilest of crimes. Just think about this for a minute. How often do I say to you sometimes, your nose is so close to the screen that you can't see the picture, you can only see the pixels jiggling around. This is astonishing. This cuts to the heart of everything. This story is about class. It's about tradition. It's about deference. It's about this mad framework that's been imposed on our country for hundreds and hundreds of years and is designed to teach us that that person is better than this person. The royal family was supposed to be better than us. Go back far enough, not even that far, and the divine right of kings was supposed to see them anointed by God to rule over us. All right? The rich man in his castle, the poor man at his gate. God made them high and lowly, each one to his estate. It was anointed, it was decided by God that these people would live in palaces. And these people, well, I think back to the fella in Aviemore yesterday who's lying in bed with his electric blanket on one because it's the only way he can even begin to try to keep warm as the cost of fuel and living rockets in this country. And the Queen, the head of state, can find 12 million quid to bail out her deviant son. It's incredible when you think about it. Absolutely incredible. If they tried to turn this country into what it is overnight, there'd be a revolution. But it is what it is. It's all we've ever known. And the effort that you now have to put into sustaining the status quo, while Andrew Windsor has provided the most incontrovertible evidence that the status quo is a joke and that these people have no more right to reign over you than you do, is going to be, it's going to be a thing to behold. It's absolutely astonishing The most vulnerable people in society have £20 a week taken off them by the government, but the Queen can find 12 million quid to bail out her deviant son, and it's somehow not a comparison that you should draw.
Welcome to C News, your trusted source for the latest breaking stories, in-depth analysis, and expert commentary on the world of politics, royalty, and current affairs. Today, we dive deep into one of the most talked about scandals of our time, the Prince Andrew saga, and the fearless coverage of James O'Brien. Known for his sharp wit and relentless pursuit of truth, O'Brien has been vocal in holding the powerful accountable, dissecting the royal family's controversial handling of Prince Andrew's scandal. If you want to stay informed and hear no-nonsense perspectives on the issues that matter most, be sure to subscribe to C News. Join the conversation and never miss an update as we bring you unbiased news and insightful commentary from across the globe. James O'Brien, a well-known broadcaster and journalist, has long been vocal about issues relating to the British royal family, especially when it comes to Prince Andrew and his controversial actions. Over the years, O'Brien has used his platform to delve deep into the scandal surrounding Prince Andrew, scrutinizing his involvement in the allegations of sexual abuse and his subsequent fall from grace within the royal family. The story of Prince Andrew has been one of scandal, public outrage, and a dramatic fall from royal favor. It all started in 2019 when Jeffrey Epstein, a convicted sex offender, was arrested on charges of trafficking minors for sex. Epstein's connections to high-profile individuals, including Prince Andrew, soon brought the royal family into the spotlight. In particular, the public was shocked by the allegations made by Virginia Giuffre, formerly Virginia Roberts, who accused Prince Andrew of sexually assaulting her when she was underage, allegedly at the hands of Epstein. James O'Brien's take on the Prince Andrew saga has always been straightforward and, at times, biting. With his sharp wit and ability to dissect complex issues, O'Brien has tackled the scandal with a level of scrutiny that's both insightful and critical. He has consistently highlighted the hypocrisy within the royal family, especially in the way Prince Andrew was initially protected and allowed to remain in the public eye despite the allegations. O'Brien has often pointed out the contradictions in the way the royal family has handled the situation. While Prince Andrew has been widely condemned by the public, O'Brien has emphasized that the royal family seemed reluctant to sever ties with him for far too long. He raised the question of why Prince Andrew was allowed to continue representing the Queen and participating in royal duties, even after the allegations were publicly aired. It wasn't until 2019, after the infamous Newsnight interview in which Prince Andrew's defense was widely regarded as disastrous, that he was effectively removed from public royal duties. One of the key points O'Brien has made in his analysis is the lack of accountability and transparency. He has argued that the royal family's failure to address the issue head-on and its continued silence on the matter sent the wrong message to the public. Prince Andrew's refusal to take responsibility for his actions, coupled with his attempt to downplay the severity of the allegations, has made him a lightning rod for criticism. O'Brien's coverage also highlights the broader cultural issues within the British establishment, focusing on the elite's tendency to close ranks and protect their own. In O'Brien's view, the royal family's initial refusal to distance themselves from Prince Andrew reflected a larger systemic issue of privilege and power that allows individuals to avoid the consequences of their actions, even when it involves serious criminal allegations. O'Brien's commentary on the saga was particularly critical of how the media covered the story. He pointed out the contradictions between how Prince Andrew was treated versus other public figures involved in similar scandals. He argued that the media often took a lenient stance on Prince Andrew, especially when compared to the harsh treatment of other figures, particularly women who have been subjected to public shaming and scrutiny for much lesser offences. In 2022, the Prince Andrew case took another dramatic turn when he settled out of court with Virginia Giuffre for an undisclosed amount, a move that further damaged his public image. O'Brien was quick to point out that the settlement did little to clear Prince Andrew's name, and in fact, it only fueled the perception that he was trying to avoid accountability for his actions. O'Brien's criticism was not just aimed at Prince Andrew, but also at the broader societal tendency to allow those in power to buy their way out of trouble. James O'Brien's coverage of the Prince Andrew scandal has been a mix of hard-hitting analysis, deep dives into the intricacies of the royal family's behavior, and a broader critique of societal and media biases. O'Brien's take has always been clear. Prince Andrew, like many others in positions of power, should not be allowed to escape scrutiny or accountability. His constant pushing for transparency and justice in the face of what he saw as systemic protection of the royal family's interests made O'Brien a leading voice in the public discourse around the scandal. In sum, James O'Brien's take on the Prince Andrew saga has been a compelling, thought-provoking, and often scathing commentary on the intersection of power, privilege, and accountability. His refusal to let the royal family or any powerful individual off the hook has made him a trusted and respected voice in the ongoing conversation about Prince Andrew's scandal and its far-reaching implications for British society.